Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we discuss everything in the world of baseball. I am Ben.
And I'm Jeremiah.
And we are back here recording another episode. We've got another full lineup for you in this show. Going to be leading off here talking about the Kansas City Royals, who we talked about a little bit about last week, but they are continuing their hot streak, still battling in the American League, as well as a team in their division, the Cleveland Indians, making a trade, bringing back a certain outfielder who was originally with the Indians. After that, we're going to be taking our first commercial break, obviously. Then we're talking about Gary Sanchez, the Yankees' young slugger, having quite a historic start to his MLB career, and really just the Yankees in general. We talked about the baby bombers a few episodes back. Yankees still in the thick of things in the American League, even though they really were sellers at the trade deadline.
They are still in the wild card race. Yes,
it's quite incredible to think that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end the show talking about Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Gerrit Cole recently going on the DL, and Jeremiah has a nice little interesting story to end the show with as well.
A fun story to end.
I won't tell them what it is.
To end the day.
Have to let them wait.
I forgot to mention it on our last episode, but hey, whatever. It's not timely, so whatever. But anyways, we're going to get started talking about the Cleveland Indians trade. Yes, the Indians acquire Coco Crisp from the Oakland Athletics.
Yes, they bring him back. So the switch-hitting outfielders returning to the Indians, as I mentioned. The trade was announced today with the Oakland A's, and it's going to be making official that the 36-year-old will be eligible for the postseason. So obviously what the Indians have in mind, bring him back. He's still a good base runner, still has the ability to switch hit, so that's obviously good with pitching matchups. And he just really has experience with Terry Francona, formerly on Boston, and really with the Indians organization.
Yeah, and I actually do like this move for the Indians here because, you got Michael Brantley, who's out for the season, Abraham Almonte suspended for the PEDs. So I do like this trade. He's not going to be a starter every day, but he can bring some value off the bench, and he can still run. He can still play defense. And I really like this for Coco because Coco was, honestly, he was starting to get a little unhappy in Oakland, and Oakland wasn't winning anyway. And so there is a chance for Coco to go to a contending team.
Yeah, so the A's will be receiving 31-year-old left-hander Colt Hines in return. He's 3-1 with the ERA of 3.99 in 38 appearances this year for 4 different minor league teams. So he's still down in the minors right now. But Crisp, as you mentioned, he still has the ability to contribute. He's hitting .234 with 11 home runs, 47 RBIs in 102 games this season for the A's, who obviously are in last place in the AL West. So I think it's a good move as well. Crisp can still contribute, as you mentioned, a good clubhouse guy. He's going to be a lot happier. His morale is going to be happier. Someone who can kind of be a leader for some of the younger outfielders, leading them into the postseason, challenging teams, like the Texas Rangers, Boston, Toronto, Baltimore. So I think it's a good move for the Indians.
Yeah,
and Coco Crisp.
It is a good move, and I like it. But we're going to stick to the American League Central here, and the Kansas City Royals are still in the wild card race. Yes, Ben and I completely rolled this team off when we started the show in June and July, and matter of fact, last week, we even off a 9-game winning streak. We didn't think they were going to we didn't think they had the pitching. But honestly, though, the best thing about this team has honestly been the pitching this month. So
yeah, when I look at the Royals now, sort of within the last couple of weeks with their winning streak and really playing well. They're still 3 games back of a wild card spot, which is where they were last week. So that means they're really competing with some of the top teams in the American League and staying steady with them, which is definitely a start. Obviously, if you fall back, then you're kind of out of it. We have a month left of the season, so it's still really important. But with the Royals, it seems like they're happy again. You know what I mean? Like the players have smiles on their faces. They're definitely enjoying it again, a lot like what they have been the last couple of years. Through the middle of the season, the beginning of the season, this season, they really haven't been, in the right mindset, it seems like. But they definitely seem like they're enjoying it a lot more, that they're competing again, and sort of that morale is feeding into the games.
Yeah, and something I want to point out is that the Royals have actually been the hottest team in August for the past 3 years, including this season. And 2014, when they went to the World Series, they won 19 games. Last season, they won... Actually, no. 2014, they won 12. Actually, I take that back. Actually, no. Last 3 years, they won 19 games every August.
And that's really good. It's quite an accomplishment. So
yeah, I was looking at their wins from July, so the chart kind of threw me off. So that's why I was like,
you're like, wait a second, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
they definitely seem to have that August month locked down. Hopefully, they can just lock down every other month, and they'll be good to go. So
yeah, and so in 2014, when it went to the World Series against the San Francisco Giants, they won 19 games in August, coming off a month in July with only 12 victories. Last season, they won 17 games in July, but, they won 19 games in August, which was pretty much the year they won the whole thing. But this season, though, has been a completely different story. They only won 7 games in July, lost 19 games, but have happened to flip that record around, and they are 19-8, I think, because, they did lose last night to the New York Yankees. But yeah, they won 19 games every August for the past 3 years, and I can't write them off anymore. I honestly think they're starting to get hot at the right time.
They are, and
I can't write them off.
Really, that's what's important is when you want to be playing your best at the end of the season, leading into the postseason. I think they're still definitely behind a lot of teams, even in the American League. That triple-headed monster in the AL East. You have the Texas Rangers, and then you have, obviously, the division lead, the Indians, who we just let off the show with in the Central. So they're still behind all those teams. They've got to try and battle out between Baltimore, who currently is in that second wildcard spot with 72 wins, so they are 3 games back, as I mentioned earlier. But, they still have a chance. They're playing well. I mean, anything's really possible, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see how this team's going to do. Because you got that triple-headed monster in the American League East, and I still think there's going to be 3 teams to be in the playoffs. So
we're still writing off the Royals.
Well, in a way, but I'm not going to completely write them off. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised as of right now if they happen to go into the playoffs, but the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox and Toronto Blue Jays, they've been consistent the whole year, so I can't replace any of those teams with the Royals, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Royals, that is, they do insert themselves in the playoffs, but I don't know if I can see them going ahead against any of the other teams because they've been in a pivotal series this past week against the Yankees, who happen to be still in a wild card race, and we'll talk about them a little bit after our first break. But I can't see them. I can't see them in the wild card because of basically the American League East. I can't do it, and I don't mean to completely write them off. But I honestly think it might be a little too late this year because of the hot teams in the American League East.
Yeah, it's not even just those teams. I mean, they're also battling Houston Astros, the Yankees, the Mariners, the Tigers. If maybe who's leading it right now, the Orioles and the Red Sox sort of falter, you still have to deal with other teams that might be playing well. It's not just like they're right behind there. They have 5 teams they're battling with for 2 spots. It's not easy. I mean, you have to keep playing the way you are. Then you have to have a lot of things go your way. A lot of other teams struggle. I don't really see that happening. So I don't know. I'm not going to write them off. They're still playing well. I think they're definitely a team that's going to make some noise in the last month of the season here. But like you said, I think it's probably a little too late. But one team that I know will not be making a push towards the wild card.
Who is that?
The Minnesota Twins, currently on a 12-game losing streak.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
I don't see them making any sort of plays towards the wild card.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know why you even brought them up.
Well, I mean, just 12 losses in a row, that's got to suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, yeah.
You've lost 3-4 series, gotten swept 3 to 4 series in a row now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like
that is a lot.
That's terrible.
Wow, how do you play that bad?
Well, I mean, they're in last place for a reason, so.
Okay.
But anyways, we're going to take our first break here at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. Coming out of the break, we're talking about the hot bat of Gary Sanchez for the Yankees. So we'll be right back.
Yeah, it is on fire.
Yeah, he's en fuego right now.
All right, well, come back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, guys. Do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, and we're going to stick to the American League here, especially a team that's also in a wild card race, surprisingly, after being sellers in the trade deadline, Ben. And, of course, we're going to talk about the hottest player in all of baseball right now. That is the young New York Yankees catcher, Gary Sanchez. Man, he's just on fire.
Yeah, we talked about him, as we mentioned earlier, with the baby bombers, people like Aaron Judge and stuff. But Gary Sanchez is definitely making headlines of that whole group with the Yankees. Really just resurging that Yankees franchise, really so young. And, I mean, look at this, what he's doing. Look at the potential he has.
They're turning into an exciting team because of these guys. Aaron Judge has hitting below the Mendoza line, but he brings a lot of power to the lineup. But Gary Sanchez, he's just... wow, man. Like, I honestly think the way that he's playing so late in the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he inserts himself into the American League Rookie of the Year race.
Really? Already? I don't know about that.
Well, I know that's a bit of a stretch, but, man, you can't. He's going to get some votes, honestly, because, I had Nomar Mazara beginning of the year winning the American League Rookie of the Year, but Michael Fulmer has been pitching excellent for the Tigers. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Gary Sanchez is going to win it because he started a year so late. But
he only just got called up this last month, so. Yeah,
you just can't completely write him off. I think he's going to get some votes, and I think he's going to get some consideration for that award.
I mean, it's possible. Like, just look at what he's doing right now. So he's only had 94 career at-bats. He's got 11 home runs, 21 RBIs. He's hitting .383. So in 94 at-bats, he's got 36 hits. And he's a catcher, so he's going to be good behind the plate, a leader of the team, not just what he's doing with the bat. I mean, he's looking to be a great player right now, and someone who next year is going to, obviously if he's having the success he is now, next year is going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders and really be that person who needs to sort of fulfill his expectations coming off of a strong August, maybe even September. See how he does now in September. So,
yeah, definitely the expectations for Gary Sanchez going to next year, even though the season's not completely over yet, they're going to be so much higher. They're expecting this guy to pretty much be lighting it up again in the Bronx. And that's pretty much going to be hard to do. You know, baseball, you're not going to stay hot forever. But Gary Sanchez, he's been hot literally since he got called up. He's hitting 383 in 24 games, 11 home runs in 24 games. That's historic.
He was the fastest ever to hit 10 home runs.
And then if he hits one within the next 2 weeks, I think he'll be like the fastest to ever hit 12 home runs. I think in like 25 to 26 games. That is unheard of. And, you know, with the Yankees being sellers in the trade deadline, you know, they want to give their young guys some playing time. It is completely amazing what we're seeing from the baby bombers already. And Gary Sanchez, honestly, we didn't even talk about him that much when we had that little segment about the young Yankees hitters. We're mainly talking about Aaron Judge and Tyler Austin, but they haven't been making any of the headlines. Gary Sanchez is dominating not just the headlines in New York, but national, man, because it is amazing what this young 23-year-old is doing. He's only 23 years old. He's going to get even better from here.
Exactly. Like, hopefully he can not do a Yasiel Puig and play great and then sort of bomb out. Hopefully he can sort of stick to this. Obviously, he's not going to be sticking to the trend he is now. He's got 11 home runs and 94 appearances.
He's going to cool off us.
That's a home run every nine plate appearances. With that, he would, break historic records. But obviously he's not going to be doing that. But do you honestly see, coming off of August here, do you honestly see going into September, do you think he can maybe get to like 20 home runs? That would be 9 more.
I would. The rate that he's going on, I wouldn't be surprised. 20 home runs in like 1 month?
2 months, yeah.
2 months?
That'd be pretty significant.
It would be.
And I think really you can sort of contribute Sanchez's success to really a lot of these guys sort of coming up through their organization, through the farm system, all getting that same tutelage, that same leadership. And I think really you can sort of contribute to Gary Sanchez and the Yankees still in that wild card race, still playing meaningful games, which I don't think any of us really thought at the beginning of the season, going into the trade deadline last month, that they would still be competing. You know what I mean? We're talking about the Royals here, but the Yankees are right in the thick of things as well. You know what I mean?
Who also had a series against the Royals.
Right, and they have the final game tonight.
Yeah.
So really important game for both teams. But, I mean, as far as Sanchez and the Yankees go, I'm just really surprised that they're still in the thick of things and that they're having success. And Sanchez really a leading contributor of that, in my opinion, right now. I think he's probably their best player right now. And he's only 23 years old.
By far, he's the most exciting player on that team right now. And, the fact that the Yankees are playing so many meaningful games, I think it's honestly pretty good for the Yankees. With so many young guys coming up, it is extremely important because they're coming up at a time when they're still technically, mathematically, still in playoff contention. That is huge for the young guys on this team because the fact that they're getting so much more than what they intended that they were hitting into, because the fact that you're playing meaningful games, you're 3.5 games out of the wild card and you barely just got up from the big leagues. You're one of the top prospects in the organization. That is huge. And I honestly think that for that reason, the fact that this team is playing meaningful games, I think it might actually make the Yankees better heading to next season.
Exactly. Like they have experience in games that really, of course, all of them count and matter, but really, really count and really matter. Yeah. You know, you're still in the thick of things. I don't expect them to really challenge for a wild card spot, but the Yankees can kind of be like the spoiler, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the wrecker, yes. You know, the team that kind of maybe wrecks teams' chances because they're playing so well and still battling, which is kind of ironic because you usually see it the other way, teams trying to go out and destroy the Yankees, get vengeance on them for being so successful. Now you have sort of the role reversal of the Yankees trying to do that to other teams. And I mean, who knows? You have to wait and see. With the young guys, you kind of have the question mark of inexperience, you know, lack of big games, but they're doing quite well for themselves, and you have to give it up to Sanchez. He's really been the leader of that revolution there in New York. So he had really the best month, I'd say, of anyone in baseball.
He won,
and it was only his first month.
He's had the best, honestly, this is the best, 24-game stretch I've ever seen in my lifetime. I've never seen anyone play this hot before. I just haven't seen it, and I do agree with you on the Yankees being more of a spoiler than a contender, and they are 3.5 games out of the wild card, but they're playing spoiler technically this week against the Royals. The Royals had a chance to gain ground in the wild card race, but they lost one of the 2 games they played already this week, and so the Yankees are technically playing spoiler right now. And I think honestly think I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees were to be a contender next season,
right?
With the young guys coming, because there's 3 guys that they have that have been dubbed as the baby bombers. Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, and Gary Sanchez. They also have a lot of young guys in the minors. They got Jorge Mateo, who might be up next season. He's the infielder. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they happen to go to the playoffs next season. But obviously, of course, that is next season. I'm not trying to get that far ahead.
Yeah, we still got a lot of games left this season.
Yeah,
so we don't want to jump too far.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm really liking what the Yankees organization has done for the past 2 months, and trading pretty much guys that are basically not going to help you in the future, because they're not going to help you this year. You're not going to make the playoffs. But the fact that they traded 2 relievers and an aging outfielder, and they got so many prospects back in return. Wow, man, it is amazing. I like what they've done, and I usually don't say that a lot about the Yankees for the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to love what they're doing. They're doing things a lot differently, but so far it's been really successful, and successful for Sanchez as well. So also to add to his accolades, he last week won the American League Player of the Week. No real surprise there. He went 12 of 23, so he hit .522, 3 doubles, 5 home runs, and 9 RBIs. He scored 7 runs in that span. But the week before that, he was also the AL Player of the Week. He's the first rookie ever to win AL Player of the Week in back-to-back weeks since the award was established in 1974.
Yes,
and this is only his 4th week in the big leagues.
Yeah,
you know
and I think he was the first to do that since 1998. I'm not sure if I'm right on that, but that was a long time. This doesn't happen a lot often.
He is the first American League player to win the award in consecutive weeks since Albert Bell in July 1998. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So not only is he breaking records that are 18 years old, but then he's really setting his own record, the first rookie to do it in back-to-back weeks, and then the first player to do it in back-to-back weeks in 18 years. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, man, Gary Sanchez is playing like a man amongst boys right there. That's what he's looking.
And he's still a boy, only 23 years old.
I know, he's not playing like a boy, though. He's playing like a man. But
yeah, he's playing really good.
But anyways, we're going to take our last and final break, and we're going to get into some news in the American League Central regarding Pittsburgh Pirates and practically their ace, Gerrit Cole. Yes, we'll get into that when we get back from the break. Do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere, guys. We're almost done here. Do not go anywhere. We're almost done.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
All right, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And for our last segment of the day, we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yes, their rotation, it looks a lot different than what they had to start the season.
Let's just say completely different.
It's literally completely different. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
Every single starter different than opening day now, because Gerrit Cole, really the ace of their staff, as Jeremiah had mentioned going into the break, he has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. He's retroactive because of posterior inflammation in his right elbow. So Cole this year has a 3.55 ERA in 114 innings during a season where he's already been on the DL before. So he had a tricep strain in June. He had a 6.08 ERA in 5 August starts and allowed 41 hits in 262 and a third innings. So he's not doing too well, especially this month. So the trip to the DL was probably something we could have predicted.
Yeah, and he felt discomfort in his last start too. So I'm not really surprised that it was an elbow injury. But elbow injuries are nothing to play around with. He's probably going to need a lot of time off. And the Pirates they're still in the wild card race too. So they're only 2.5 games back of the Cardinals here and the Giants. But their pitching rotation, completely different. They don't have one starter from opening week in the rotation anymore. Because two of them they traded. One of them, two of them, the other two, are in the bullpen now. So, yeah, it's completely different. But honestly, though, the pitchers that they have on their staff now have been really good. Jameson Taillon, the young prospect there, has been doing really well. Ivan Nova, who came over from the Yankees, matter of fact, has been really good. 4-0, I think, with a 2.8 ERA since coming over from New York.
He's like an established veteran, definitely can fit a good role there in Pittsburgh. Not surprised there, he's doing successful. So
I think the fact that he's in American League kind of really helped him in a way. So I'm not...
Yeah, facing that extra hitter with the DH all the time, and now you're facing a pitcher. There has been pitchers that could hit in the past. Think about Madison Bumgarner now. But definitely it's a lot easier of a lineup most times out. So
yeah, and Ryan Vogelsong, who had a very brutal... I could say face injury earlier this year. It was very brutal too.
Yeah, he got hit pretty bad with that ball.
But he came back and he pitched really. He's been pitching really well. They got the young player in Gerrit Cole, I believe that is his name, and they brought up Chad Cole. Got his name.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and then they just called up Steven Brock a couple days ago because of the injury to Cole. But yeah, man, heading to the wild card race here, do you see the Pittsburgh Pirates still making a push for like contention?
I mean, I guess technically they're still there, but I really don't. I think it's definitely the Giants and the Cardinals who are the leaders right now. They're definitely in that firm spot. I would give maybe the Mets a better chance than the Pirates, who are currently tied with them right now. The Mets playing pretty well lately. Yoenis Cespedes has really hitting some home runs lately, sort of resurging the Mets' chance to make a late postseason push. I think with all the injuries, the different starters for the Pirates, now you lose arguably your best pitcher. Maybe they should have sent him to the DL a little earlier because he had such a bad month. He lost him a lot of games when he started. So perhaps they should have made this move a little earlier. But I think really the Pirates, they're kind of fighting there still, which is great, but I think there's better teams that are vying for those 2 wildcard spots right now in the National League.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to bring up Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, he has started already. So
yeah, because he actually was on the DL for the past month, and he got activated, but got options to AAA. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him up to be that 5th starter. But, Glasnow has been battling injuries this year. But, the pitching rotation on opening day featured Gerrit Cole, Francisco Liriano, John Neese, Juan Nicasio, and Jeff Luck. None of those guys are in the rotation as of right now because of the Gerrit Cole injury. So, the fact that they're still in it is still kind of amazing in a way. We talked about the Royals earlier, still in contention. Yankees are still in contention. It's still amazing to me that the Pirates are still in contention. But, I wouldn't be surprised that they fall out anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think they're just not as good of a team as some of the others. The Mets, Cardinals, no.
And the Giants, even though they have struggled a little bit, the Giants still have talent on that rotation.
Yeah, especially in the rotation, one of the best starting rotations. Maybe not so much lately, but maybe in the early part of the season, definitely. So, I don't know. I think with Cole going out for sure, that solidifies the Pirates as I think they're going to miss out for sure.
Yes, and I don't see them making the playoffs. We're riding them off, guys. We're riding them off.
Then watch, they'll just go on a 7-game winning streak, and we'll talk next week about how they're doing so good.
And be like, we roll them off again, guys. But we're gonna ride them off. But anyways, before we end the show here, I got a little fun story to share with the listeners here, including you, Ben. I think you heard about the story.
Mm-hmm. But just go ahead and say it anyways.
But David Ortiz has been immortalized in a corn maze. Yes. And I think in Sterling, Massachusetts, the corn maze is dedicated to Big Papi. And it was unveiled in a ceremony Tuesday in Sterling.
I think it's crazy how they do these. Like last week there was one for the Cavaliers as well. Like it had LeBron James and like Believe Land and the Larry O'Brien trophy. I don't know how they do these like carvings and stuff, you know what I mean? But you see them all over the place. They're phenomenal. I don't know how they do them.
Yeah, and then the maze is 8 anchors. It was created by Davis Mega Maze, and the features a cornstalk of Ortiz's trademark home run pose with, pointing 2 fingers to the sky, and the phrase is in the maze. Hey, that rhymed. But the phrase that's in the maze is "Thanks, Big Papi." So it is pretty cool in a way. It is kind of weird. It is a fun story, but it's pretty cool, So he is forever immortalized in a corn maze now.
Yeah, and hopefully they can keep it up to date and keep it there forever. Obviously, sort of paying an homage to David Ortiz. His last season, everything's done with the Red Sox, so hopefully they'll keep it up.
Yeah, and the maze is open to the public starting Saturday, and Davis Mega Maze, they've been carving in a different design into the field that they have this maze on every year for about 20 years. So this marks actually the first time that a living celebrity has been featured in the maze. So that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I have some breaking news as well.
Oh, let's get to it before we
All right, so in our last segment, we talked about Yasiel Puig getting claimed.
Last show.
Last show, I'm sorry. Getting claimed by an unknown team. Well, a source is coming out and saying that the unknown team that claimed the outfielder is not interested in really trading for him, but they were really just trying to block him from going to another team that might have had interest in trading for him.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of played a little defense here.
Oh, okay, all right. We got defense.
But we still don't know what team.
We don't know what team. We can only speculate. I was kind of hoping you would have dropped a bomb on me right now. But that's okay. I'm not lying. I'm kind of
sorry, buddy.
I'm kind of disappointed. All right, well, I guess we got to go because I'm really disappointed now. But anyways, thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. You can catch us on a variety of platforms.
You can catch us. I like that one. I like how you did that one.
I didn't mean it like that, but thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even recognize my own puns. Hey. All right, but we are on a variety of platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, and, of course, on our website, gsmcpodcast.com. And this is actually the first week we've been on the new schedule. So we're on Wednesdays, and I think this second show is uploaded on Thursdays now. So Wednesday and Thursday instead of Thursday, Friday. But if you can't get enough of Ben and I, we're actually starting this week. We're going to do the football podcast every Friday as of right now, yes.
Leading you into the football weekends.
Yes, so if you can't get enough of us, guys, we're going to be doing the football show every Friday when Alex is not there.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and you can follow the baseball podcast on Twitter at GSMC_baseball and on Instagram as the same handle at GSMC_baseball. And you can like us on Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in and have a great day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.